Buckle up, baby. It's your host, MKB here, and it's time for episode 38 of Travel Disasters. It's Monday, March 2nd, and I'm so glad February is over. What a weird month, right? I have some really fun shows coming up in March. I will be at the Voyager tomorrow night in Milwaukee. If you are even remotely close to Milwaukee, please come check out this show. It's super fun, and you can find all the details about the show on my website, mkbcomedy.com, along with all of my upcoming shows for March. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because you know what to do. Follow us on social media. We are Travel Disasters on literally everything. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening. And if you're listening on that purple podcast app, throw me 5 beautiful stars and leave a written review. Guys, I'm so excited about today's guest. This guy has a check mark on Instagram and 250,000 followers on Instagram. He's kind of a big deal, okay? But that's not why I brought him on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first United Airlines Million Miler in the house. Colt Cabana is here. He's a pro wrestler. He's got the body of a Greek god and an incredible sense of humor. He has been traveling every weekend for the past 20 years because he's wrestling, and he's here to shed some fucking wisdom on yo ass. I've laughed so hard. I learned so much. It's my favorite episode yet. So let's get right into it. Here we go. Baby, we're going on the trip from hell where every flight is missed. They lose your luggage and you're in the middle seat between a sumo wrestler and a screaming baby. Don't worry, I'm coming along for the ride. I'm Mary Kate Beck, and this is Travel Disasters. You look like a deer in the headlights.
I'm the sumo wrestler.
That's right. You're the person that no one wants to sit next to on the airplane. You're just so big.
First of all, I have great airplane etiquette, but I don't know if you introduced me or anything.
I haven't. Colt Cabana.
Hi.
Or Cabana.
Cabana. Yeah, thank you. What are we?
Dolce and Cabana.
What are you, Bushwhacker Luke? Who used to call me Cabana.
Cabana.
An old Kiwi man, a 70-year-old Kiwi man. Hey, Cabana.
Cabana.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I love it.
So first of all, listen, I'm window every time, and I am scooching my body over. If you're sitting next to me, you love sitting next to me. I am not, and also I have etiquette on those middle handles. What are those called?
Ooh, the armrests.
Armrests. I have etiquette. I'm never putting my arm on top of it.
The middle seat gets both.
No, the middle seat does not get both.
What?
We both put them inside.
Oh, like...
You both put them inside, and you're allowed to drip your arm over a little bit. But
drip.
That you're never touching the middle, and so we're both sharing that middle thing. Listen, You're the asshole who didn't book for further enough in advance.
That's me.
You're in the middle,
but I'm petite, so I'm a nice middle person.
Right. When I'm in the middle, it's hands crossed underneath, or not. I'm leaning forward, and I'm putting the tray down, and I'm leaning forward. So then, if those
just
people
hunched over that,
if they want to get if they want to get some time in there, they can get some time in there.
Oh my God, I love it.
Don't tell me I'm the sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. For the people that don't know who you are, which I mean, get with it, folks.
Right.
But to give context,
okay.
Yeah, you're a big guy. You're a professional wrestler.
Am I big in size or stature? Which are you talking about?
Stature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
Yes.
How tall are you?
Only 6 foot. Although now in my late 30s, I'm probably 5'11" and a half.
You're shrinking. You got to take your Metamucil. I
feel it's more as a professional wrestler.
Or something?
My degenerative disc disease is
catching up.
But
yeah.
Yes, I thought you said my Mucinex, which I am a little.
Oh, you're a little stuffy?
A little stuffy. I'm sure I've caught something as I'm going to Japan tomorrow, to which my parents and friends are like, maybe you shouldn't go to Asia this time around.
Oh, my God.
But, hey, why not?
Whatever. It's far enough away from China. I think you'll be fine.
I have such a good story just based off of that right away.
Oh, yes. Okay, we'll save it. We're going to get into it.
But it's so
let's talk about how we know each other, because we're an odd pair. And I've never met you in person, but I think you followed me on Instagram.
Yes. So I mistakenly followed you on Instagram.
Oh my God. Which caught my attention because I'm like, anytime someone with a check mark next to their name follows you on Instagram, I'm like, that's not a pyramid scheme. I'm like, what is this? Who's Colt?
Mike O'Keefe's Instagram stories, I think you were on by something, and I don't know. I think I'm just hitting forward because obviously they're not interesting. So,
oh my God, drag Mike O'Keefe, you savage!
And I don't know. A day later, I was looking at like my posts, and you popped up. I'm like, where did she come from?
Who is this woman?
Yeah, and I remember I think you being on Mike's thing, so I assumed I pushed a button by mistake, which followed you, but good content. I'm not unfollowing.
I know. I checked today. I was like, this bastard. No, I'm kidding.
That he's still
swear to God, if he unfollowed me, I'm canceling this recording session.
I thought if he unfollows me, I could finally live my life without being thought about what does Colt think of each of these posts.
Oh my God. But I feel like I know Marty DeRosa pretty well, and you know them.
Who's he?
You know who?
Yeah.
But you know Marty and Sarah really well.
Yeah, so for context for everybody, I'm a professional wrestler. I've been wrestling for over 20 years. I'm from Chicago. I also dabble in the comedy world, but my wrestling style is comedy wrestling, so I'm a comedian when I'm in the ring, and sometimes I'm a comedian outside of the ring when it comes to just stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm around the Chicago comedy scene sometimes. I'm on billboards around town if you...
What?
Yeah, you don't know
Have we seen you on a side of a bus?
Have we?
Oh my
Look at this.
goodness.
Walk away from here.
Look at this rookie over here. Open your eyes. That's the thing with me is now that you know I'm on these billboards, you will never not see them.
Yes.
Just looks for the flexing man promoting T-shirts.
In the singlet?
1 hour tees. No, I'm in a Macho Man Randy Savage T-shirt. Yes. Sometimes an Andre the Giant T-shirt.
Oh my God. Even better.
Yeah. So that's me. So with that comes of 20 years of wrestling comes, I would say, I started flying, I would say 2 years into wrestling. So I've been...
Had you been on a plane before?
Yeah.
Oh, you made it sound like you'd never flown before.
like let's say as a comedian, you're driving to road gigs.
Totally.
And then you know when you're getting good, you're getting flown to flown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say about 2 years in, I started getting flown. And I've been basically flying every single weekend for the past 18 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. So before we dive into your stories, I always like to do the travel scale before we dive in. And it's kind of two ends of the spectrum where, one end of the spectrum is something that never travels at all, really stationary. The opposite end is like something that's constantly on the move, constantly traveling.
Right, which is weird because some people would say I am on the spectrum. So
you are, yes.
We'll see where I lay.
You're doing great. You're great with eye contact, very social. So I haven't gotten spectrum vibes yet.
The cues haven't come up.
So today's travel scale is like 0 being, since you're going to Japan next week, tomorrow, a panda. There's 8 different species of panda in Japan.
Name
so maybe
'em.
you'll see one. Fat pandas, the black and white ones. That's it. I didn't memorize
Buffet.
them. Yeah, buffet.
Panda buffets, that's a thing, right?
Panda Express.
Panda Express. I dropped the joke.
That's all right. I'm the comedian. I'll carry it. To the other end of the spectrum, like Jack Black, the Kung Fu Panda. Like, I already know where you fall, but where do you fall?
Wait, the regular panda travels a lot? I'm confused.
The Kung Fu Panda travels a lot.
Oh.
Regular panda is like depressed, stationary. They don't even have the energy to fuck.
Oh,
like,
Jack Black, he's into it.
Yeah.
He's going on tour with
high energy,
with his
saving
bald,
the world.
his bald guitar panda friend, right?
Yes.
Okay, I get it. Yes, I am Kung Fu Panda.
There you go.
Which makes sense because like I'm going to Japan.
Yeah.
Not to stereotype.
Yeah, you're not just going to like LA. You're going continents away.
I mean, I was in LA a couple weeks ago.
So every weekend you're going somewhere for wrestling.
I am a Million Miler on United Airlines.
Holy shit. What kind of perks come with that?
Well, not as good as you would think, but basically...
Did they make an announcement? Did the pilot announce?
So
like, we have a Million Miler on the flight.
One time someone said, and I'll use my fake name, well, Colt Cabana, someone's waiting for you at the end. I'm like, what is this? And then I got out, and they're like, hey, we just wanted to thank you for flying. And that was it. And I was like, okay. And
you're like, can I go back to my seat now?
Yeah. Well, this was as I boarded the plane.
Oh.
And one time I checked in and they're like, hey, there's a note for you. There's an envelope. And I look in the envelope and it was just like a note like, oh, thanks for flying so much.
What is this garbage?
And then I go to the woman. I start dumping the note and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm looking for flight vouchers.
Yeah, thanks
or
for
like,
your piece of paper. I'm glad the $150,000.
They didn't even mail it to you. They didn't even like pay for the stamp.
Right.
That's bull.
Yeah. But the perks. Basically, because nowadays it's automatic upgrades.
Yeah.
If they haven't sold the first class seat, so
Nice.
I would say 80 to 90% of the time domestically, I'm flying first class. I'm in the lounges. I'm living that lounge life.
Damn, what's a lounge like? I don't know if I'll ever see one.
Well, poor thing.
I know.
Well, I've loved it because I've always dressed like a bum and kind of like I mean, whatever, like I'm not the businessman.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've been living these perks since I was like 22. So there's nothing better of like going into a lounge dressed like a bum and just being like, oh, I'm just as good as you.
Yeah.
And that's always a good feeling.
Oh, how satisfying is that?
Very satisfying.
So great.
And they're thinking like, I'm here because I'm better than everyone. What is this guy doing here? And I'm just like, hey, man, you got to live with the locals,
Yeah.
No.
Get with it.
Right.
Oh, I love that. So how did you get into wrestling?
I don't know. I love wrestling.
You've never been asked this question before?
I love
the first time I've
yes.
ever asked this question.
I have to go back to my stock
Well,
answers.
I don't know anything about wrestling. And forgive me if I butcher all of the lingo. I don't know. I don't know shit about wrestling.
It is,
but like, how do you get into it?
Yeah, I trained to wrestle. I went to
did you have family that was in
wrestling? I went to a trade
wrestling?
school, basically, in Portage Park when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and two guys, they took my money and beat me up a little bit
Yeah.
and said, hey, you're ready to go.
And they're like, you have to lift weights and drink protein powder for the rest of your
I knew
life
about
now.
that.
Yeah.
I was a football player. But I did think, when I went there, like, I thought that everyone was going to be these big muscle guys.
Yeah.
And it was just like local
Weenies?
weenies and scrubs. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God. Because going into it, I was like, this is going to be like the NFL Combine.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm picturing.
No.
Like the draft.
It's just local dudes who like wrestling.
Yeah.
A lot of never worked out. They just thought like you could just be a wrestler.
Oh God, you know what I'm thinking of? Foxcatcher, where it's like the old guy and he like makes them wrestle him, and it's the most uncomfortable scene in cinema. Oh, but like that's who I'm picturing at these gyms. So yeah,
but you should be thinking of like bench warmers with David Spade.
Yeah.
That's like what the team was.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Or Little Giants. It was basically
Yes.
Little Giants.
Oh, that's so great. Awesome. So you've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
So tell us about you've seen some shit.
I've seen so much
Yeah.
shit.
What's like your biggest pet peeve? Like what just sends you over the edge, like in an airport or in a travel situation?
Oh, so I am I'm a big stickler by order and rules. I really am. And the number one thing is that when we exit a plane, I'm not that, if you want to stand up, stand up.
Yeah.
But the row before you is going to go.
Yes.
And that's the order of how the plane deplanes.
Yes.
So
it would be chaos if it was any other way.
And sometimes it is.
Yes.
Now, I have recently wrestled in Japan and China. And you notice the Japanese are so polite. They will always do this. Also, the Canadians too will always do it. But the Chinese are just reckless. It was a free for all.
There's no rules.
Just a free for all. So I know my size. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of.
And you stick out like a sore thumb on a plane filled with Chinese people. I'm assuming.
Well, I'm breaking away from the Chinese. I'm just going to any.
Okay,
so
got it.
If I'm getting off my plane and boarding, and someone from behind me in a row behind me tries to make past me, every time I will body check them.
Oh my gosh.
And I do not care if
Yeah.
you are a man, a woman. The other day, I scolded a child, like the uncle that I am
what
not.
What did you say?
Like the 39-year-old single father of no children. I said, you're not going to let me out, buddy? And he goes, like he was past me.
Yeah.
And I go, hey. He goes, huh? You're not going to let me out? He goes, huh? I go, come on, man. I can't remember what I said. I go, have some.
Your turn.
I think I said, have some respect and get back there. And like, he's like, my mom. I go, get back and let me out. And
Yes.
and he did.
Oh, wow.
But I have body checked people And so my move is like, as they're walking by, I will stick my
Ooh,
body out.
that was so fast.
Yeah, I am a wrestler.
Oh, wow,
I am an athlete.
You're
all
quick,
right.
Yeah.
Body check them and then go grab. But I will always play dumb. I will never
confront them.
I will never confront.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like I just want them to know.
Passive aggression.
Yes, that they're an idiot.
Yeah.
What they're doing is unacceptable, and it will not be stood for.
Oh my god.
So that's my number one move. Obviously, slow movers. And like, because I'm such a pro at this point, so like slow movers in the TSA, slow mover, just slow walkers, people who are walking and then come to a quick abrupt.
That's me. I have such bad ADD. I do that a lot.
So what I will do on purpose
ram into you?
is just to teach you a lesson.
Yeah, that's fair.
And because I know you're not going to knock me over, so I want you to know that you can't do that.
Yeah.
All right. So I will hit you, not badly, but enough to be like, ooh.
That middle-aged woman's going to get back to her family like, can you believe this young man bumped into me at the airport?
Of all, young man, thank you. Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. So funny.
Yeah, those are a couple. Otherwise, for me, my routine has always been I've always lived since I live in Chicago. It's Blue Line to O'Hare.
Yep.
I don't know what your preference is.
I'm an Uber gal.
You're an Uber gal.
Yeah. I know.
Where are you living? Are you living near a train?
Well, I live north, so I'm like in the Wrigleyville-ish area. So I'm not really near. I used to live in Wicker Park, and when I did, when the Blue Line was at my doorstep, I would do it for sure. But now it just. There's no easy way where I live. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to risk being late.
Well, I guess that makes, because I'm doing it every week.
Yeah.
Right. So if I was doing it once in a blue moon, I would Uber, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Also, some of the trips I do, my company pays for the Uber.
Oh, nice.
And that is the best.
Are you getting like Uber Black? Like, it's like big SUV.
I'm not Pool, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Usually it would be Pool.
Oh.
But if it's my own money, I'm taking. I'm off of Addison, so I'm taking, but I'm a little more west. I'm taking the Addison bus to the Blue Line.
Wow.
But when I first moved down to the city, I was in Little Italy, so I took the UIC one.
Oh,
which was
door to door.
Yep, UIC, but it was a long trip.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Ukrainian Village, so I was taking the Division Blue Line. Then I moved to Wicker Park. I was in Wicker Park for 12 years.
Yeah.
I took up the Damon one, and now I'm a little more north now. So I keep on. By the time I'm 50, I'll live at O'Hare, I think. I'll have an apartment.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So great. So, like, what are some of your, like, horror stories? I know you have some under your belt.
Yeah, I do. So the problem is that I travel so much.
It's hard to pinpoint.
It is hard to pinpoint. And also, I've just like, what is a nightmare to somebody is just another traveling day for me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've learned to just not care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I've had these times where my flight gets delayed and I have to sleep over in a city, you know what I'm saying? Or even sleep at the airport. I've got the number of times I've slept at an airport.
What?
Yeah.
On a cot? What is that? What happens when you have to sleep at the
also,
airport?
When I was younger, the promotions would fly me to wrestle, but they wouldn't pay for a hotel, and I was too cheap, so I would just have them drop me off at 1 a.m. at the airport.
What?
Yeah, and then
that's commitment.
And then, I mean, that's just the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I don't know if it was commitment, it was just that was.
You're like, I didn't have a choice.
That was the dedication.
Yeah.
I was like, of course I'm going to, I need that $55 to pay my whatever.
Yeah.
So it's hard because I understand the homeless man, you know?
Yes.
When they put those benches and they put the dividers in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like, shame on you, airports.
Yes.
Just give me a long boy so I can sit down and sleep.
I think now you can pull the armrests up, so that's good.
There's different ones.
Yeah.
Different ones at different airports.
You have it memorized?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I know my airports. Number one, the worst airport in the world is Newark by far.
Oh, disgusting. The floors are always sticky.
Bags are always lost.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, the number of bags I've lost. Oh God, I can go into the story. I probably lost $10,000.
Oh my God.
Because United moved me over to an Aer Lingus flight. I did this tour in London, all through the UK.
International flights are notorious for losing your luggage. They don't give a fuck.
Well, if it was because I'm United, they're like, yes, Mr. Colton, whatever you need. Like,
right.
I mean, the
Mr. Million Flyer,
Yes,
Mr. Million Miles.
the number of hookups I have is wild, and I can make a call, and I do this for my friends all the time.
Yeah.
Like if they're in trouble, I'll hook it up, and they treat me like
awesome.
a god. It's
Yeah.
great. But they put me on an Aer Lingus flight, and then Aer Lingus lost my bag. But then I was bitching to United, and they were saying you got to go with Aer Lingus, and Aer Lingus was saying this is a United thing, and so it was a back and forth, and basically I missed 5 shows that had all my merchandise in it.
No.
I made my shows because I always bring my
but
gear.
you lost like
all my
$10 in merch?
merchandise,
Oh,
and so
geez.
these were giant arena shows, and people were buying so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like waving to everybody.
Yes.
So sad.
You had nothing to offer.
Yeah. So I got kicked out of Canada twice.
What?
Twice I've
How
gotten
did you
kicked
get
out.
out. They're so nice.
Right. Well, not those border people. And I have been on the immigration list for the past 13 years.
What does that mean?
That means every time you go into Canada, into customs, they pull you in. They say, come with me. You can't just go through.
And like search your butthole? What
Yes,
happens in
I
those
wish.
rooms? Why are they? They're like, Mr. Cabana, and you're like, I'm just gonna spread my butt cheeks.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun because it got to the point where I had because I had my letter and I had explained everything to them, and basically, so the last time I went, they said you're off the list, but they said that in 2007 they go, hey, you got a 10-year ban, and so then in 2017 I was like, I'm ready. I was like Ozzy, like
the ban has been lifted.
Yeah.
I'm fucking.
I'm off the ban. They go, oh, that's not real. You'll be on the list forever.
What?
And I was like, oh. So basically, you had to be. I tried to sneak into Canada to be a performer in 2007.
So are you like trying to disguise yourself?
You weren't
get across the
so
border?
in 2006 you weren't allowed to, and in 2000 at the end of 2006 Vince McMahon made it okay for wrestlers to do that, but I didn't know.
That's so discriminatory. How is that possible?
Because it's like working visa stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So you weren't allowed to go over and work in Canada because they want their own.
Oh,
right?
wow.
AK white people. They want white people to their own. They're discriminating, yes, against Americans and black people.
Yeah.
Or people of color also. But in 2007, you were allowed to, but I, who had been trying to sneak into Canada since 2002, was lying my way in, like, well, we're going to see a friend. And sometimes they don't mind. And I was so young, it's not like they thought I was smuggling drugs, I don't think.
Right.
And eventually someone had told the border guards, hey, these guys are sneaking over. So when we got there, they're like, we know why you're here.
Wrestle.
You're here to wrestle. And I'm like, and they're like, here's the paper that says. And then as I get caught, they're like, sit down. As I get caught, another wrestler comes in.
Oh my God.
6'8", 350-pound abyss.
Thought he was just gonna sneak by.
Yeah. And I hear him. They go, reason for being here. He's like, I'm visiting my friend Rich. And I'm trying to look at him with my eyes like, no, they know.
Cut the shit.
Yeah. And she's like, please sit down. And so we got a 1-day banning from Canada.
1 day?
They sent us right back. And
Wouldn't you just stay at a hotel like on the border and
no,
then just...
they said you're banned for the day. You can come back, but you'll always be flagged. They're like, you're not allowed, because you lied to us, you're not allowed to come.
It's never going to be easy for you.
And it never was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I have friends who have been banned for 5 years, 10 years
What?
because of this bullshit. And a lot of us are like, come on, we're getting $30 to wrestle at a VFW hall in Ottawa.
Where they can still smoke inside.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And so I have I was told, so every time I would go with my note, and I would say I got like they're like, why? I go, in 2007 I got banned with this. I've been in your country 150 times since. I will be performing as a blah 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 blah. And they're like, and so at that point they're like, oh, this guy's been through this.
Yeah.
And then the last guy goes, I've taken it off your record. You won't have to deal with this. And I haven't been in since. So we might have to come back on the Patreon and tell you when I come back in Canada.
Oh my God, that'll be great.
I'll give you an update. I think I'm going to Canada in a couple of weeks. So.
Oh, nice. Which part?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Toronto, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I mean, maybe that's the main one. Yeah. There's so many over the years. I remember there was one time where I got upgraded to first class, but nobody told me, and I was stuck in the middle and going from San Francisco to Chicago, which is a good 4.5 hour flight. And it was me and like, I would say 2 guys who were probably 240 and above.
Holy shit.
And we were like laughing about it at this point.
Yeah, you're like, we're the biggest row on this plane.
Yeah.
Like,
and then halfway through the flight, someone goes, "Wait, you're here?" And I go, "What?" They're like, "Oh, well, you're on the upgrade, but we just assumed you weren't here."
I'd almost rather them not tell me
Of course.
at that point. Like, please,
of course.
yeah, keep that to yourself.
A little bit me wanted to cry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Has there ever been like crazy like motels that you've stayed in, or like times where you're like, this is fucking sketchy and I might die tonight?
Yeah, a couple. Well, one of the I did shows in Guwahati, India.
Whoa.
And so
Is there a big wrestling scene over there?
There is not. We were the only white people there.
We created the show ourselves. Yeah. And
well, I have a friend named Sanjay Dutt, who's a very infamous on our scene, and he had a hookup through a hookup, and the Guwahati International Trade Fair wanted some wrestling.
That sounds cool.
Right. It does sound cool.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah. On paper, it's fucking great.
We were like, we're going to the trade fair, and everything you think of a trade fair,
yeah.
It was a flea market.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
But in Guwahati, it was like the grandest thing of it all.
It's like their like world fair.
Essentially, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, and it was a huge eye-opener, and it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I bet.
It was just me and 4 other friends, and they built a wrestling ring, which was not what a wrestling ring
Out of like
is.
straw?
No,
and hay?
cement. And that
oh my God.
is not.
You're going to die in there.
Right. That's not what you're supposed to fall on. But they just saw a picture. They're like, we'll build this.
Right.
But we all flew from different places, and I didn't meet with them. So I think I flew to Mumbai, maybe? One of the. I sound awful. And I had to stay over. I had to stay over in a hotel until the next. Like the part of the deal was, okay, you'll fly here, you'll get in, we'll put you at a hotel, and then we'll go back to the airport, and you'll fly to Guwahati, which is kind of a smaller place where the main places of India where you hear about your friends going to travel and become yoga masters.
Right.
This is not the place. This is like someone from, Australia being like, I'm going to America. They're like, wow, where are you going? And they're just like, Montana?
Yes.
Like that's the equivalent
Big
of
Sky,
this.
Montana. You're like, why?
Yeah.
I'm going to Wichita. Can you believe it?
Right. And
so it's like the sticks of India, basically.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it's I think it's a third world country.
I think it's still considered.
It was.
If it's not, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the shower was just, it was like a hose and a bucket. There was 2 buckets.
Is it outside?
No, it wasn't outside.
Oh, okay.
And I think this was considered a nice hotel, like there.
Oh, wow.
But it was one of the scariest moments of my life.
Did you see like cockroaches or rats or?
I mean, it reminded me of the like those scary, like Hostel almost.
Oh.
Yeah, but dirtier.
Ew, if you can imagine.
Yeah, but also like part of me is I do have like a fun disposition on life where whenever I'm in it, I'm like, oh, I can't believe this is life.
Yeah.
I'm not like, this is the worst part. I'm just like, I can't believe this is where I'm staying. What an experience this is.
That's awesome. That's such a good outlook. How did you do on the cement ring?
Well, I mean, we basically tumbled when no one fell, but they didn't know.
Yeah.
Tickets were the equivalent of $1. It was 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
The first night there was like 500. The second night there was like 1,000. The third night there was like 2,000. The fourth night there was like 3,000. So it built up really nice.
That's great.
But they had never seen wrestling there. They had never seen white people there.
Right.
So
this is huge.
Yeah. And I was on banners all over. We had like giant posters and all over the whole city and town. So we were kind of treated like royalty. It was very cool.
Is that so fun?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a confidence booster. Like, hey, this isn't our normal show, but they're so stoked about it and it's great.
And they stole they basically stole the WrestleMania logo, which is, they
don't know any better. Like they're like, why would there be crazy rights associated with this?
There are no rules in India. Yeah. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like India WrestleMania, basically. Yeah. Like that. Vince McMahon isn't going to sue the Guwahati International Trade Fair.
Yeah, right. It's not worth it.
But I guess I guess this is a horror story. But on the flip side, I just wrestled in China also, in Wenzhou, China. And they put us up at this beautiful resort. Oh man, I wrestled in the Philippines, in Manila, and that was just like the most beautiful resort.
Just like a tropical paradise.
A paradise.
Yeah.
But I'm a horrible eater.
What do you mean? Like a picky eater?
Very picky
like
eater.
Chicken fingers? What do you only
No, I
eat?
like chicken. Yeah.
Are you like a child where you're like,
I'm a
order
7th
off
grade
the,
girl, of course, at a bar
Do you
mitzvah.
have Totino's pizza rolls by chance? Like,
Essentially.
oh my God.
So in China, like I don't know.
The cuisine's so much different than ours.
I think it was the mafia. They took us out to eat. And yeah, it was just like all this weird stuff.
Oh no! Do you like decline it or?
And they were like, "You can't decline this."
Yeah.
So I would. Oh.
That's like Indiana Jones when he has to eat the monkey brains. So like
Mhm.
you have to eat the monkey brains. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, of
What
course.
was it? Was it like fish that you're just not into? They eat a lot of
I don't eat
fish.
anything from the sea.
Yeah.
And a lot of just like weird exotic birds also, I think.
Ooh.
Weird birds and weird fish that still had faces.
Oh my!
I just wrestled in Japan a couple months ago, and they brought out a fish that was descaled. The whole thing was taken out, and it was still moving.
Oh, stop!
Still moving.
No,
I have a video of it.
thank
I can show it to you.
Yes, please. We need that for social media. Oh my God, that's fucking crazy.
And then also I did a tour of the border towns of Mexico.
What does that mean? Like the towns along the border, I'm assuming. But
where people get murdered.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, and we did 2 different tours, and then like the next tour, I was like, hey, how come as many people weren't at this show as the last time? They were like, oh, there was a mass murdering at Burger King
Shut the
today.
fuck up.
And so our shows
Everyone's
were
mourning. Oh my God.
You've heard of the morning sandwich at Burger King. This is a different one.
Everyone was related, so the whole community is just shut down.
And our shows, there's 2 sides basically. I mean, this is like Medellin stuff, I think. Like there's the cops versus the mafia, and the shows were put on by the mafia. And so the guy who brought us is like, you're safe with them, obviously.
Yeah.
They're the most safe.
Yeah.
And
you want to be on their team.
It was the best experience.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah, you're like, we could die. Like, everyone behave yourselves. This is a lot.
Yeah, like Juarez and Matamoros, like those places. If you look them up, you'll see just like crazy murdering happening.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty wild. But they flew me United, and that's all I asked for. And
I mean, I was happy.
Right. That's the key.
As long as I'm taken care of.
Mm-hmm. As long as I get that upgrade.
That's right. That's right. Oh, well, you have Japan tomorrow.
Yeah.
How long are you going to be in Japan?
Go to Japan for 4 days.
Nice.
I get back, and then I go back to Japan. I have a couple more shows in between. I go back to Japan for another month.
Whole month?
A whole month. Basically a whole month. I get back and I go to Alaska. I got some cool places coming up.
So
Germany,
great.
I'm going to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so at this point in my career, I when I was younger, it was just like, if you can fly me, that's great. Now I have demands, and it's always you fly me United.
Yeah,
and I like to, I like to, get the miles on. Like I'll ask. You pay me the money and then I'll buy the flight.
Oh, that's good.
I do my travel.
Yeah. Do you have time for like personal travel or?
Yeah, I'll tack on stuff.
Good.
All the time. And then all the wrestlers will all, if we're in a place, we'll all be like, oh, let's go do a thing here.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And I'm going to all the towns. So, I'm just thinking like the last time is like we went to the Alamo.
So fun.
Saw the Alamo.
Yeah, a bunch of wrestlers walking into the Alamo. I would die.
A lot of Pee Wee Herman jokes.
Yeah.
Which everyone's like rolling their eyes at. Like,
right.
I haven't heard these ones.
Oh, that's so
I don't know where the basement is, sir.
So in terms of like trips coming up, so you have a bunch of that. But like, what about travel hacks? Since, you're a big expert, like any, things we can take away. I want to learn from you.
Well, let's see. Hotels. Yeah, hotels. I'm trying to think of my hotel ones. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm showering. So you take the ice bucket and you put your phone in the ice bucket.
Oh, very nice to reverberate the sound.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Amplify the sound.
I don't know if it gives it reverb.
Reverb. It's like wah wah wah.
I'm trying to think. What other hacks? Just anything, huh?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I don't know
there's no criteria
because my status is so good. I get free bags.
Oh, nice.
Well, this is maybe an illegal travel hack. There's that one that I posted that maybe you wanted to talk about.
I love that.
But besides that, also sometimes I travel so much that, so this one's happened to me is my bag came out and the zipper was open and I was like, what the fuck? And I lost my planner and I was very upset.
Aww.
And I said, hey, the zipper is open. And I go right to the front because I'm 1K Premier and they're like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, what did you lose? And I was like, my travel planner.
My journal.
And then they go, anything else? And I go, and my shoes
and an
and
iPad.
a shirt. I said a shirt. So they like no
and a G-Wagon and a Range Rover.
What's
it was
a
all in the
G-Wagon?
back. That's like the Mercedes, like big boxy truck.
In my head, I thought you were talking about a radio flyer, like a little red wagon.
My wagon for my toys.
Oh. So essentially, they just sent me a check for. Like they're like, here's $250, and I just bought some shoes and some.
So fun.
So if you want free shoes or
Just
anything, just say yes. Just lie to the airlines. And then the one I put on social media was, I always take the pillows and I always take the blankets. And at first I was taking them and just like, because of course
Hoarding
I want
them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't need all these pillows. I don't need all these blankets. And then where I live, there's an underpass with just like all these homeless people. I was like, oh shit. They should have this. Yeah. And so I started giving all the homeless my pillows and blankets. And then I'll always do that and I'll always grab stuff like that. And even like the little, because on first class flights, like I'm flying first class tomorrow to Japan, not because I bought it, because I have all these upgrades that you just get it for free. They have like the DOP kits with like Kleenex and hand lotion. And at one point I was like, I'm going to, and then when you have 20 of them, you're like, I don't need all these.
No.
Yeah.
I maybe need like one or two extra for when one runs out. That's so awesome.
And then, along the same lines, but it's not, sometimes when someone's picking me up from a show, when I get off the plane, I'll go into the lounge and then I'll just like grab a bunch of cookies and then give them to the person picking me up.
Oh,
that's
really cute.
Here's a cookie.
I'm thoughtful.
And it's great because, I didn't spend any money on them. Yeah. But it looks like I did.
Right.
And that's what's important.
True. Yeah. Looking like you're generous.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Before we let you go, where can people find you?
Oh, well, my name is Colt Cabana. My fake name is Colt Cabana. My Twitter and Instagram and my TikTok is at Colt Cabana.
Oh my! We should do a TikTok before we leave.
I have a travel story on my TikTok.
We're reposting it.
And it's about the time that I checked in Tanner. I checked in a bottle of Tanner.
Oh my God. Like self-Tanner?
Yes. Because you can't bring it through the TSA because it's over 3 ounces.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have any check-in.
You're like, I need my Australian gold.
Yes. I had to look good for the shows. So I checked in the Tanner. She wasn't happy about it. But you know what? I have 3 free bags. I'm using my 3 free bags, all right?
So did you just put a tag on your bottle of Tanner and then send it through?
I put it in a Target plastic bag.
I hate you so much.
And that one didn't go viral, but the one of me hitting my wrestling friend's boobs did.
Nice.
So, which I feel it should have flip-flopped, but for some reason.
That's all. You can't control the internet.
Yeah, that's all at Colt Cabana. And then, I don't know if you want to listen to wrestling stories. My podcast is The Art of Wrestling.
Yeah, I was listening to it today. I'm not a wrestling fan, but it was actually extremely entertaining.
Well, thank you very much. And I think I'm starting a comedy show in Chicago.
You think?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Well, I think it's going to be at the new Lincoln Lodge.
Very nice.
It's going to be called Sarah Shockey Teaches Colt Cabana How to Do Improv.
Oh, yeah. Sarah.
And
she's such a saint.
I love Chicago improv, but I am not good at it.
What? I never would have guessed that.
No,
you look like such a great improviser.
I am a good improviser. How dare you?
Oh my God. Have you guys done any shows yet?
That was
How's it
not
going?
a yes and.
My bad.
You really put me down.
I'm a no but person.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's just because you haven't been squatting.
True.
That was a joke. All right. James didn't. I don't know if he liked that. See, that's the kind of comedy you'll see at the Lincoln Lodge every.
Oh my God.
So Sarah's a wonderful improviser. I do like improv. But I get really nervous and also have ADHD and a little dyslexia, so I just start zoning out. So like in the middle, sometimes if I do improv, I just like forget what the scene's about or what the past scenes are about. And so like I wanted to do a show where just like I could just stop the show at any time and she can explain it to me.
Oh.
And so we did one at IO and it was really funny.
Oh, good.
But it was a little like we wanted like a monthly show where tickets are really cheap, so it's a $5 show. So I think March 1st is our first one at Lincoln Lodge, the new Lincoln Lodge, in Logan Square.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to check it out. That'll be great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
I was trying to think of a fun travel, like a ding. Is there a ding?
Oh my God.
Thank you for listening to this podcast.
You may now move about the cabin.
There you go.
That's it.
And cut. Woo!